This week we have a double parasha, a double portion. Parashat, which one, Idan? Behar-Bechukotai. However, I want to concentrate today towards the second portion of the portions. Excuse me. On Parashat Bechukotai. There's a lot to learn, and I found it to be extremely fascinating. So, Parashat Bechukotai really is the final parasha in Sefer Vayikra, and a great portion of this portion, talks about or describes what will happen if you would follow my laws, or if you follow what I tell you, and if you keep my commandments, and what will happen to us if we are not going to do it. There's a major portion of this parasha. And in this context, the Torah uses an expression that appears few times in these two conditions. If you would keep my mitzvot, if you keep my commandment, and if you don't, the Torah uses a certain expression, and that says ufaniti elechem veifreti etchem, right? Vehirbeti etchem. In other words, I will turn towards you, and I will multiply you, and you will be fruitful, right? This is in verse 9. And on the other side, right? Venatati panai bachem, and I will put my face upon you, venigaftem bifnei oivechem, and you're going to lose all your battles against your enemies, veradu bachem sonechem, and your oppressors will oppress you. Those who hate you will oppress you. So the question is asked, how is it possible that the same word would describe two opposing situations completely at 180 degrees? How is it possible? And even more so, right? According to the Kabbalah, we know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that God, is basically an endless flow of love, of light, of joy, of giving, of kindness, and all the good. So how is it possible that if you don't keep His laws, so many bad things will happen to us? Who is this over there from? Not
yet.
Huh?
Oh, not yet.
Okay, not yet. Okay, I was thinking because you can offer them some feijoada. You don't want some feijoada? You know what feijoada is? Feijoada is actually a Brazilian dish that was brought from Spain and Portugal, that was actually influenced a lot by the Jews who were there, and of course today they make it with pork by the time they did it. So, and that's what you're eating is chamin, yeah. Now, so how is this possible? How is this possible? So the Zohar explains, here you wanted Zohar, so the Zohar explains that the objective reality is really that of endless abundance, of love, of giving, and so on and so forth. And it is our personality, I'm going to pay attention, it is our personality and our personal or personality structure, the way we are inside, that really allows us, each one, to experience things differently, and that's why it could either be this or this. Now, let's look a little bit about this concepts of reality, because everybody today likes reality, but really it is not, right? A reality is, again, this reality of giving, of extra giving, of love, and so on and so forth, just pay attention, could be experienced different by two different people at the same time. So let's exactly see what it is. In Kabbalistic concept, the objective reality is not what we see, the material that we see with our own eyes. On the contrary, substance, material, and time, and space, and if you have a problem with this, I would recommend you to look a little bit into also quantum physics, and you're actually going to see it there. Time, space, is all an illusion. It's an illusion. Or even more so, how the Kabbalah calls it, it's a levush, it's a garment of deep and hidden truth that is there. In other words, you just see something on the outside, but you don't see the real thing. Caballero, ¿qué pasó? So now let's see exactly what is according to Kabbalah, what is objective reality. Objective reality equals what we call the light of Ein Sof, the endless light of God that comes from us. And according to Kabbalah, that objective reality is the light of God that comes from all the time. And that light is, if we're talking about, manifestation of ideas, is the will of God to do good with all His creations all the time. And that is an eternal situation that does not change, that is not dependent on our awareness. Pay attention to this. God always does good. The light, the upper light, and we as Bala Sulam, Rav Ashlag explained that, right? When it's in a complete rest and it's complete state of the world that we experience, the time, as I said, the space, the material feelings. The feelings are feelings of what we call hester, hiding. It's not revealed of that particular light. We need to bring this light into, it sounds a little, like, how do you call it? An oxymoron, but we need to bring the light into the light. The question is, of course, how do we do it? So that brings us to a perceived reality, which is the subjective. The other one was objective. This is subjective, the perceived reality. So the Kabbalah describes man as a receptacle. A receptacle is a vessel that holds things inside. And the willingness or the need, what we call the ratzon, to receive pleasure all the time. That's what man wants. Which sits very well with the concepts of what's his name? Ziggy, right? Good old Ziggy.
Trina says hi.
Hey Trina! How you doing, sister? Right? Of Sigmund Freud, right? When he talks about which part of us, Professor?
The ego.
No.
The id.
The id, right? Who always wants to give, give me more money, I want it all, right? That's so the more that egoistic will is there, a person can perceive this world as a world of separation. In other words, you don't see how everything is connected, and in a way, you don't see how we all, Am Israel, all connected, and humans are all connected. We see, and the more and you see, Rabotai, it goes hand in hand with the way we live our lives. The more we are perceiving and looking after and looking towards pleasures, the more we start to separate between people. We hate people, we don't like this one I put it in this compartment, and the other one put it in the other compartment, and so on and so forth. I'm not saying we're not supposed to enjoy, but enjoyment is not the focal point of your life. It's there to give you as a bonus, so you could do things. If you become completely spiritual, what's the incentive for you to eat or to enjoy anything in life? So God made it like this that we enjoy it, but the focal point of your life is not to enjoy all the time, to look for pleasures all the time. That's not what we're here for. So the more you are a pleasure-seeking missile, the more you would like to separate, and you'll be a separating agent rather than a connecting agent. Look at our world today. It's all about immediate gratification, uncontrolled pleasure, and the world hasn't been more separated ever, I think, than we are today. If you look at the condition that we are in the United States, which is honestly a great place to be in, I do believe that today the United States of America, the great United States of America, is more divided than it was during the Civil War. At least in the Civil War, you had two parts. You had the North, you had the South. You had the Yankees, you had Dixies. You know, that's it. Today, parts upon parts, and it's crazy. It's unbelievable. So, as long as a person identifies with the awareness of the materialistic awareness of pleasures and so on and so forth, Rabotai, you're not experiencing reality, you're experiencing an illusion. You're seeing a mirage. It's not the real world. And the more you purify yourself, in other words, the more you are fixing, what's a purify yourself? You are fixing this receive to only for yourself in order to and changes to receive to give to others. In other words, willing to share and so on and so forth. Then you are able to see more and more what we call the Metziut Elyonah, the upper reality of really how things are, the more objective rather than subjective. And that depends on you. And then you could really see things the way they are. Now, according to Kabbalah, there are 4 different worlds, right? Those different worlds are really 4 different levels of perception. Well, we have Asiya, the world of Asiya, which is the world that we are here in terms of our materialistic reality. And there's the world of Yetzirah, of formation. Above that, there is the world of Bria, creation, because we can only form things, we cannot create things. I mean, we can create. If I cannot go like this, okay, let it be tree now, boom, and then it'll tree. I cannot do it. I need some kind of a remnant of a tree, and then grow it. Yes, I can make a whole forest, but I cannot make it on my own. So this is, and then there is the level of what is so-called Atzilut. Atzilut, which means the direct shadowing of the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which is very close to Ein Sof, to the endless, and that is the true reality. Olam Atzilut is the true reality. As long as you understand that, you have a chance to actually get yourself in a way. Every single word like this, every single perception like this is a curtain or a filter that filters the light coming down. In other words, when the light comes from the upper worlds all the way down, it comes to our world, it's already not as intense. It's like when you have glasses, right? You have glasses and then you put UV and then you put that's a nice way to make money, but you put the blue light on, the green light on, the reflection, and before you know, you can actually look at the sun and you call it sunglasses and you could really see. That's our world today. But if you look with sunglasses at the world, colors don't look the same thing. They look different. So you need to, as they say, go up in the upper worlds. Now, going up in the upper worlds is very difficult. But, we'll see. There is a concept in Kabbalah, and Bechlal in Judaism, that we say, En od milvado. What does it mean, En od milvado? There's nobody else besides him. In other words, everything and everything and every awareness, it's all from Hashem, it is all Hashem. Right? Nobody else. There's no Donald Trump and there's no Joe Biden and there's nobody. It's only God. Don't, by the way, worship people. Worship God. Now, this is, Enod Milvado is one of the foundation concepts of Kabbalah. In other words, everything comes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. God is the source of reason and of everything. And there's nothing else besides God. In other words, God is the ultimate reality. Everything else is an illusion. And if you don't understand that, take a crash course on time and space, and you'll see that time and space, for example, warps around gravity, right? Space, if you know anything about this, the greater gravitational force, the more distortion of space there is. It's very simple. And if space distorted, time also slows or expands according to that. Yeah, you're absolutely correct. Yeah, guys, you got it. So nothing is constant. God is the only reality. Everything else around us is just an illusion. Now, if God forbid something bad happens, right, or suffering, or our ego, right? These are, as I said, are garments that we put on that hides the ultimate good of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If you have all these things on you, if a person, for example, is suffering, you can talk to him about goodness of God. He says, listen, I'm suffering right now. It's very hard. You know, if a person is angry, or he's full of himself, is full, very selfish person, he cannot really see that by itself will be a curtain that would hide God's light, and as a result of that, what will happen is you're going to be off. For example, how you get lost in the forest? Very easy. You walk, and you talk, and you don't pay attention, and you're lost. That's it. However, if you know that and because you can't really see the forest, sometimes you can't see the sun, or you're in the mountains, it's very easy to get lost. So what you need to do is always go back to the first point that you knew exactly where you were, if you could do that, right? Right? Somebody listens to me. Let's say, for example, you know you need to go north, so you find one time north, and you say, okay, next time I'm going to go north, this is that next tree, because before you know, you turn around and you're lost. So you find one, as they say, 1 foot at a time. Otherwise, Rabotai, we are lost. We are completely lost. By the way, you should know, it's very important to learn Torah. Torah is all our life. But you should learn other skills in your life. For example, navigational skills. Rule number 1, I don't go out on outdoors. I don't care if I've been into the place already 50 times. I don't go out without a map and without a compass. It is impossible for me to think that you guys don't know how to read a map. A map, a regular map, paper map. People don't know how to read a map. People don't know how to find the ways on a map. People like this cannot find the way out of a paper bag, needless to say, a forest. That's right. Now, get to the skills. Learn how to build a lean-to shelter immediately. How to build, learn how to assess situations. Don't be lost. We do get lost in our lives because of lack of ability to navigate through life. We cannot navigate the high seas. Take some chula, please. Warm you up from the rain. You have to right now. You done worked very hard on it, you have to take it. Now, we cannot navigate. We are getting lost through life. So, how do we get lost? We don't see the beacon light of God guiding us throughout our lives. We don't see it. That's how we get lost. Learn how to navigate a map. Maybe you'll learn how to navigate your life. So to our journey of survival that we are doing here, the endurance journey that we do and that we call our life, we need to learn how to navigate, how to do basic skills, start a fire, to warm up to. All those things could be applied to the world of Torah. Torah mishum hora'ah. The word Torah is lehorot, to teach. The Torah is not a book of laws, it's a book of life, to teach you how to go. That's your map, that's your roadmap, which will be able to provide you the fire, to warm up when you're lonely, and so on and so forth. So we must do that and understand it. When you talk about meaning of life, or what am I here for, you should know. And this is and I said it to somebody today. He asked me about learning about the secrets of the Torah. I said the secrets of the Torah are not secret at all. Are right there, plain open. Just people like to say the secret, but the deepest secrets are in plain eyesight. I mean, right there out of you. If you want to know what's the meaning of life, very simple. Remove those curtains and go back to objective reality of unity. That's it. Separate between good and bad all the time. That's it. That's what you need to do. The whole entire Kabbalah of the Ari. The people say this, Zaher Ampin, Shmeir Ampin, all this, all that. It's all based on this concept. Berur and Tzitzot, separating good from bad, bad from good, do the assortment, get a meaning, get greater clarity. That's what it is. And to that matter, there's no difference between Kitvei Ha'ari and Mesilat Yesharim. Rabotai, you want, I told you this a gazillion times, you want to reach Jewish enlightenment, take the book, Mesilat Yesharim, Path for the Just, read it, apply it to your life step by step. At the end, you're going to reach a certain level, of a high level of Jewish enlightenment. Because it helps you. And how does it do it? By breaking all those habits that we have that stands on our way, that cover up from God's light to shine from us out. God's light is not only shining from above down here, it's also shining from inside of us out. And the problem is that we are not yet of a clean vessel to allow this light to come out. And we need to remember this. So at the end part of those, what we call klalot, those curses, the Torah says, Ve'af gam beheyotam be'eretz oivem, even if they're going to be in the land of the enemies, lo me'astim, I would not abandon them, ve'lo ge'altim lechalotam, and I would not disgrace them to destroy them. I mean, go tell this to your average missionary Christian, God would never leave us. Or to your average jihadist there. God would never leave us. He promised, unless you hold, of course, that God is a liar, which I don't think he is, right? He's never going to leave us. He never left us and never will leave us. So, the interesting part about it is the word lechalotam, and we'll see. When a person hates another person, he feels a level of disgrace and repulsiveness towards this person. You hate him, right? And of course, when we hate somebody, we have this need inside of us to really supply ourselves and provide ourselves with excuses and stories why we hate him and what is okay to hate him. We always do that. We always do that. In our parsha, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when God says those words, He's not talking about somebody He hates. He's talking about His beloved nation, our nation, Am Yisrael. That's who He's talking about. And we need to understand that there are two different parts of creation. And of course, everything is God, but it manifests certain attributes in what we call the feminine and masculine side. And it's not the yin and the yang. If you want to call it, but it's not it. It's something completely different. Now, the masculine side is the side that gives, and the feminine side is the side that receives. The masculine side is the side of the light, which is the creation, and the feminine side, right, that receives is us. Is us. That's why we need to read the pasuk in a different way. Lo me'astim velo ge'altim. I did not repulse by them, and I did not abandon them. Why? Lechalotam. How do you write lechalotam? Lechalot, lamed, chaf, lamed, right? Vav, tav, mem. However, it's not written like this. It's written without a vav. Lechalotam, al tikra lechalotam, ela lekalatam. In other words, Am Yisrael is my bride. And that is a very important point. And that's why when we read Shir HaShirim, Song of Songs, there was a machloket between Rabbi Akiva and Chachamim that they wanted to censor it and put it to the side. Rabbi Akiva says, no. Kodesh Kodashim Hi. It's Holy of Holies. It's a love song of God to Am Yisrael and Am Yisrael to God. One of the most beautiful pieces of poetry I think ever written in human history is Song of Songs. It's amazing. Amazing.
Especially in Russian.
Especially in Russian. I absolutely disagree because it was written in the holy language of Hebrew. So, yes. So now, let's see now what does it mean. Remember, we spoke about it. Let's see what it means to have reality according to what the vessel is. Baal HaSulam says, "Hamargish kach margish ve'en lo efsharut ladat yoter mizeh." A person who feels, that's what he feels, and there's no way for him to know more than what he's feeling. That's what he's saying. It's very interesting. Think about this. I have allergies. According to modern physics, there are two different theories that really describes our reality. There is the theory of particles and the other one of waves, right? And we're talking about two different theories of completely, opposing and different than one another. And researchers found, which is fascinating, that everything is on the eyes of the beholder. What do I mean? If you're going to check or examine things, right, that are being handled or they operate or conduct themselves through a wave, you would see that that's exactly what happens. Everything happens in a wave form. And if you see how things operate as particles, you will find that, guess what? You were not wrong. They operate as particles. In other words, if you are looking, the person who is looking into it, his perception of separation and splitting, right, he's going to experience light as particles who exist, right, within one place. And if a person that looks at it and his perception is not limited, he's going to see everything as a wave, as a constant flow that could really be existing in many places at the same time. How do you choose to see the light? How do you choose to receive the reality? My friend, is up to you. That's why I keep telling you, don't be pessimistic. Don't be negative. You have to remember, because by thinking in a certain way, you are creating that reality. If you think that your life is miserable, I'm going to tell you that. Your life is miserable. And if you think your life is good, don't tell me my life is not good. Who are you to tell me? That's the way I look at things. That's how I view reality. And it's a very important lesson to us to remember. The problem is not with the world. The problem is with how do we look at the world. Do we look at Am Yisrael as one wonderful nation that has different tendencies? Yes, I am talking about secular people as well. They're not my brothers. If you have a son that or a daughter, chas v'shalom, went off the derech, are you going to hate them? Or your brother? It's his choice. I cannot judge him. That's the way he views the world. In other words, the objective reality is always in existence, but what we experience depends on our vessel. Who are you as a vessel? Excuse me. And our will, the purity of the heart, right? This is the kli. What is your ratzon? Why do you want what you want? Do you want it for yourself? Do you want it for fame and glory? Or do you want to win the lottery, $175 million? Man, that sounds like a real good deal for me. What do you need this money for? You know why you guys don't win it? Because you all want it for yourself. I'm willing to bet that if you're going to honestly, not just like, okay, God, I'll make a thing, I'll give it to tzedakah. No. We're not talking about this. Let me ask you a question. I did today a small research. An elderly, a retired couple in New York City, to live in New York City, needs on average anywhere between $90,000 to $150,000 of steady income to live comfortably. That's a lot of money. A year, I'm talking about a year. Think about it very carefully why you're staying here in New York. Maybe we should all move to Texas or something, or Florida, or Wyoming, or Sturgis, South Dakota. I mean, I don't know. We should move somewhere. But so let's say you have $200,000 coming a year. You're retired. You have $200,000 coming a year for whatever reason. You have an account. You have whatever savings, retirement, whatever you have. And now you won the lottery. I mean, you're living comfortably. How much money do you think you need? You're doing okay with $200,000. If you win the lottery, let's say you win $175, $195 million, you're making $200,000. You have more than everything that you need. You have. Did it would ever occur to you to give all this money to tzedakah, to poor people, to feed poor people, to help people? It would never occur to you. Why do you think you're not winning it? You as Jews should know better. Would you give it up? Okay, fine, I'll tell you. You know what? Out of the 175, 195 million dollars that they have right now in those two Powerball or Mega Millions, whatever it is. Okay, you know what? I'll take $10 million, okay, for yourself. Give the rest to tzedakah. Why the whole thing for yourself? Why, you're going to get yourself a plane from Qatar? Or, what do you need this for? That's madness. This is not Sparta. It's madness. Spartans, they live very little, very frugally. What do you need all these things? You know why you don't get it? Because you don't realize what you have. Your perception is wrong. You want more, you want more, you want more. You don't even stop to enjoy what you have. You want thrills. It's what I keep telling people all the time. People go all over the world, for crying out loud. They go all over the world. They go to, I mean, what does anybody need to go to Spain nowadays, or Italy, or to Iceland, or to France, to all these places where they hate us to the bone? Did you ever see the whole entire United States yet? You know what is there to see in this wonderful country? I'm telling you this, a whole lifetime would not be enough to see everything in the United States. Guaranteed. How many people have been to Europe, or been to Thailand, or been to, what's the name of the other place that people go? Mexico, Dominican Republic. You ever been to the Grand Canyon? No. You know what I'm saying? You ever been to what's the name? Denali Park? No. Are you ever going to go? No. You ever seen Mount Denali? Wow. Denali in Alaska. You ever seen Mount Rushmore? Do you ever see Devil's Tower? Huh? Van Damme. Ever seen that? You like that? I've seen the Van Week also.
A lot of it.
A lot of it. Very slowly. I don't need to go far. Do you appreciate what you have? You don't. So their perception gets wrong. I mean, it's like everybody keeps saying, the United States it's all a wonderful country with two big parentheses on the sides, or blue parentheses on the side. I mean, when you go to the East Coast, or you go to California, this is not the United States. Maybe beside Dearborn, Michigan also, you could X it out. But you know what I'm saying. True United States, you haven't seen. You ever seen to Iowa? Or Nebraska? There's nothing much to see in Nebraska besides flat land, but that's okay. People go to Kansas, they go up 2 stories up, they get a nosebleed. But did you ever see that? Did you ever see a sea of cornfields or wheat? If you go to the Dakotas or whatever it is. You ever see a herd of buffalo in your life? You ever go to Big Sur? You did. How was it, honey?
Beautiful.
Beautiful, wasn't it?
Couldn't leave.
You find anything like this in Europe? No. That's what I'm talking about. Or Acadia. And we're on and on and on. The list goes on. So, what makes our receptacle clean is our will to give. The purity of the heart. Your spiritual perception and achievement. It's almost like a sun that is always shining. But our window is either dirty or we put shades on so the light does not come in. Clean your windows, you get pure light in. Beautiful light that comes in. Take the shades of your spiritual shade and let the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu shine in your life. And if it's always dirty, you're not going to feel it. You're not going to feel it. You're going to be lost. Simple as that. You're going to be lost. The light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is endless. The willingness of God to do good to His creations is always there, and it's endless. It's united. It's in unity. It's in one form. It is whole. It's complete, and it's eternal. It's forever there. And what we experience, of course, is just a step or process in what we call the process of tikkun, the process of fixing things up, that really should lead us to be able to attain that eternal or that high level of reality, to see things the way they are. And that's why it's called Ruach HaKodesh. Ra'ah beRuach HaKodesh. You were able to see it. The more a person is able to clean his awareness, the closer he gets to a objective perception of reality. And it says, "V'natati panai bachem," right? And one hand is a curse, the other side is a blessing. And we are those who determine how our reality would look. It doesn't make a difference how many times we turn our backs to the light. The love of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is still there, and it's still great. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not angry with us, but rather that we are those who are angry with ourselves. And the more we are angry and frustrated with ourselves, we condense the vessel less and less and less. In other words, we cannot hold the light of God in us. We cannot really benefit ourselves. We are preventing the light of God entering into our lives, into our souls. And we have to remember that we are those who produce the curse or the blessing. That's why everything is in our hands. There was a very famous Israeli song that two people sing. One is Daklo and the other one is Ehud Banai. So one sings, "Ma she'ata roeh," whatever you see is white. Whatever you see white, I see black. Whatever you see is a dream, I see is a horror. However, without one thing, the wagon cannot start, and that's the spark of love. That spark of love is what puts things together. Just as HaKadosh Baruch Hu created this world with love, so we could fix this all with love. It's okay that he sees things different. I cannot judge you because you see things differently. Don't judge a person. Don't judge a person, he's coward if he has a business that he's putting 30, 40 years of his life and he's afraid to close it. Don't judge him. You didn't even work a day in your life. Everything fell on your lap as on a silver platter. Don't judge him. He's allowed to his perception. Just love him. Connect through love. Another thing is, of course, and we have to remember that things are difficult, but difficult is good. Why difficult is good? It's just going up the stairs. When you go up the stairs, what's easier? To go up the stairs or down the stairs?
Down.
Depending.
What's harder?
Up.
Up. What's easier?
Down.
Down. Good. So as long as things are hard for you, you know you're on the way up. If things are too easy for you, you know you're on the way down. That's not good. Spiritually, I'm talking about. It's okay to go up. It's okay to work hard. If you don't work hard, you should be worried because you don't have work. As somebody once said to me, he said, it's better to work hard than to look for work in a hard way. In other words, good that you're working hard. You have this work you're working. Don't, because when you have to look for work, you're not working. Now we need to remember also, and try to finish this in an optimistic thing, even though it seems like right now we are in a very bad situation in terms of the whole entire world completely is turning on us. And that's a sign for us that we need to stay authentic and loyal to our mission. And we need to remember. That at the end, all is going to be good. Remember that all is going to be good. And if it is not good, at least you know that it's not the end. So it's okay. Well, let's continue working. Let's continue changing our perceptions. Let's let God lights into our lives. Let's stop hating. The word hate should not even be in your heart towards your enemies. The Torah warns us from hate, because today you hate your enemy, tomorrow you'll hate your brother. And we should start loving our brothers and not judge people, but rather try to help them to bring the light to their lives. And by doing so, the tikkun will come, and may God's light shine upon all of us, shine upon all creation. Amen.
Amen.